Good morning, beautiful souls. I am so excited to share with you this morning a few tips because it is National Pretzel Day. I didn't even know that was a thing. And my son growing up was obsessed with pretzels. Took a break for a little while and now my house is literally filled with pretzels again. And I got looking at this morning and I was like, gosh, how often does our mind feel like it is a torture chamber of, pretzels, ideas, beliefs, limiting beliefs, all these different things, all put together and feels like your mind is just pretzeled, right? You just can't calm it. It's going by so fast. You get an idea and it leaves and then you just find yourself going in circles. Does anybody else feel like that ever? So this morning I thought this would be a perfect time to hop on here and share a little bit about what really made all the difference for me as far as helping to calm that mind mess. And if you don't know me and you're just getting to know me, my name is Kelly Lepar and I help mompreneurs who are working as hard as they can and still not making the money, not growing the team that supports them, and just feeling all out of balance in life, and you're just stretched. You're just feeling like you need to make some shifts. So I have some rest stops where you'll find more time with family, more supportive team, more connection with source, and a whole lot more money in the bank. So this morning I wanted to share something that made all the difference for me. So my mind would stop feeling like this and start being able to have some calm and some clarity. So I want to introduce you to something called the stick person. I know, really crazy, amazing name, right? So my mentor introduced this idea to me and I want to share it with you. So imagine that, let's see if I can figure out a better way to show this. So here's the stick person, right? So I want you to imagine that this is your mind, right? And this big circle here is your mind. So we have a few different parts of our mind. We have our conscious mind, which is where all your learning is. It's all the books that you read. It's all the YouTube that you watch. It's all the content that you receive. It's all the trainings and it's all of that stuff, right? And then we have the subconscious mind, which is where your heart is, your feelings, your emotions. That's where your habits and your beliefs and all of those things are at, right? And then we have this smaller portion here, which is your body, which the mind actually puts either into motion, out of motion, right? Like nothing happens without these two guys. So when we understand a bit more about our mind, because if anybody ever asked you hey, what does the mind look like? You probably couldn't tell them, right? Because lots of people think of the brain as their mind. Well, the brain is an organ. It's like an electronic switching station, but the mind is something completely different. So when we have clarity and understanding of what it is, then we can work on unraveling the mess. So we have the conscious mind. The conscious mind is where all that learning, all that information is put. And then this is your subconscious, where your emotions, your habits, your beliefs, your paradigms, the things that can literally control you are. And then these little guys, these are all of your senses. We see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. And this is how we are conditioned to maneuver through life, right? Like someone says something, you hear something, and it makes you feel a certain way, right? You either have no emotion to it, or maybe it activates you and makes you feel a certain way. Remember, this is your feeling part. And that makes you respond or react in a certain way. It makes you do something, right? So what we want to understand is that this part up here, where it's our educated mind, that doesn't necessarily mean that anything is going to happen, right? You can read all the books, watch all the YouTube, study, take all the courses, fill this part up, get your mind mess kind of going and feel like a pretzel. But until you get emotionally connected, until something here comes down into your subconscious and connects there, you get emotionally connected with something, the body literally isn't going to do anything. It's not going to make you do anything. We have, I think they said like 20 million different thoughts come through your mind every single day, right? Your senses, you're feeling what temperature it is. You smell something and you maybe don't have any thoughts or feelings about something until maybe that smell reminds you of back when grandma used to make cookies, and then that's gonna like maybe start making you salivate in your mouth, and like it literally, that emotional connection to that thought creates a response in the body. Okay, so we as humans are so conditioned to how we are feeling, how those senses are, to determine where we go in our day, how you show up with your family, how you show up, with your clients or with your business, how you show up with your partner, right? Like, oh, how are they feeling? Let's see, what's their mood? How am I going to respond, right? So your senses is giving you all of the information on what's happening in the world. And then what we don't realize is that filters down. So I'm just going to imagine my head, because I'm not going to hold this up the whole time. But that thought, right, that whatever your sense captured, it comes into the thinking mind and then it filters down into the subconscious and connects with an emotion or a feeling, right? Because literally everything is vibration. Everything is energy, like this pen is vibrating at a certain frequency that makes it a pen. This paper is vibrating at a certain frequency that makes it paper. Like everything is energy. So your thought energy, your thoughts are some of the most amazing, powerful energy out there. Have you ever been standing in the kitchen and then someone walks in the door and maybe they had a really rough day and you literally can feel their energy before you turn around and see them? Or maybe you walk into a room and like someone is just expressing something, that happened to them. Maybe they're really excited and you can feel that excitement. Or maybe someone comes in, they're just brooding and like you can feel it, right? Like that thought energy is really powerful. So when we sense something, then it comes into your conscious mind, right? You recognize that you have that thought, and then it filters down into your emotional mind, your subconscious, and then it puts you into either action where you're like maybe reaching out to that person and like giving them a hug, or maybe you're running and hiding, just depending on what your past experience has been with that, right? What your habit of way of responding is. And so when we realize that the mind mess is because we have all of these thoughts, all this information, gosh, you get on social media and there is so much information coming across our space at such a quick pace. And you turn on the radio or you have the TV going and all the news is coming through. Like there's so much information and your mind cannot process all of it all at the same time. So most of it's getting filtered out until something pops in your mind. Something's activated that brings a feeling. And then you get emotionally connected and you start thinking and you start remembering or you start fearing or worrying about whatever that is, right? And then that's going to create the physical response in the body. And so when we understand what our mind really is, and that when we can learn to quiet, I'm going to cover my face here, quiet these senses, right? Because back when, humans were just coming around, we had to have our senses. We had to, we could smell if there was fire, we could hear if there was a tiger coming, right? So knew if you needed to flee or fight, right? But now we've evolved to such a space that we don't have to depend on our senses in order to function and move forward. So when we learn how to separate out all of the, if you want to even call them 6-lane, 15-lane highways of information that you have going through, and you quiet the mind mess and realize that you actually have control. You're not in this like turbulent ocean of emotions and thoughts, and you have the power to quiet all of those thoughts and all of those that information by learning more about your ability to think, ability to use your memory in a really beautiful way, your intuition, your reason, which is your ability to think, your will, which is your ability to focus on certain things, your imagination. Most of us use our imagination in the most unproductive ways, thinking of all the negative things. What we imagine, we actually create. Have you ever gone on like a thought journey and then someone says something, and so then you started creating this story in your mind, and before you knew it, you were like deep in like this fear and worry and anxiety? Like, you're using one of your mental faculties really, really powerfully, but just not in a productive way. Most things that people fear and worry about never happen. Right? A very small percentage of them actually happen. But we create like this emotional state that can like hold people back and like make people shut down because we're using that imagination improperly, right? And then we also have your perception, how you view things, how you see things. So we could be looking at a book, right? And I'm going to say, hey, there's pictures and there's writing on this book. And you're going to say, no, there's not. It's blank. It's black. And I'm going to say, no, like there's writings and there's pictures on it. And you're going to say, no. Well, it's because our perception is different. What you're seeing one side of things, but I was looking at something completely different, right? But it's the same thing that we're looking at. We're just looking at it from a different way or a different view. And so when we learn to use our mind in a more productive space and quiet all of the mind mess, which is all the information that is given by your senses, and it allows you to actually utilize the information that you are absorbing and allow yourself to use that really powerful subconscious mind, which is where that's the really powerful part that puts you into action, right? That's the one that literally controls everything that you do. That's where your habits, your beliefs, your paradigms are held. And so when you understand what your mind really is and how all these parts function and put your body either into action or out of action, right? Then you can start to take the pretzels, take the confusion out, and be able to see a different picture, right? Instead of it all being jumbled all together, then it's going to be able to create something very different. And I'm trying to make a picture here so that you guys can see something different, right? And so then you just start to see things more clearly, and you can take a look at, like, you know, this situation and be able to recognize whether you even want to relate to it, if you want to believe what this person said or that person's way of thinking. And if you want to believe that money is hard to make and that you have to work really hard for it. And if you want to believe that you're stuck and that you can't figure things out. Well, when it's all mismatched in here and like it's all the information is coming so quickly, that's really easy to like feel that way, right? But when we have that picture of what your mind is and have an understanding of the functioning of it and what actually puts you into action, takes you out of action, and your mind is filtering all this information all the time, and the only thing that you actually get connected with is what you emotionally like get activated by. Either it triggers something from your past experience, or a belief, something someone said, or something that you read somewhere that like really resonated with you. Then you're going to connect those pieces, and then you're going to either take action on it or run from it, right? So I hope that this helps to create a little bit more clarity and help to calm that pretzel mind and allow you to be able to view things a little bit differently and kind of calm that mind mess. So if you found value out of this, I would love for you to drop a heart in the comments. And there is a link connected to my private Facebook community where I share lots more information on helping you to create the mindset for your success. And no matter what it is that you're doing, whether it's your business, relationships, your health, your connection with source, like all those things, you have the power. You are the creator. And you have this amazing, amazing tool that most often is not being utilized because you don't understand it, right? And then when you start to understand it, then you start to understand yourself, and all those limits and all those beliefs that are not moving you forward but holding you back are unraveled. And you are able to blossom out and really start living and showing up and being the vibrant, amazing soul that you are. The only reason that you're not showing up and not feeling that way is because we got all this mind mess, all these pretzels to sort out. All right, my friends, I hope that you got a lot of value out of this. Drop a heart in the comments. And if you want to have a conversation about this more, then shoot me a private message. And I look forward to connecting with you soon. Have an amazing day. Expect abundance.